Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining us here again. This time we are talking about a project which I think has the potential to do some really incredible gains this year. It is, of course, Algorand. Algorand has been taking the market by storm, and for very good reason. We've been talking about it enough. I mean, it's definitely doing some impressive things. And with a new partnership with a company called Opulus, they are bringing DeFi to the music industry, and this is going to change the music industry and the way that money is done in that business. I'm going to talk to you all about that and how Algorand works and Opulus, everything you need to know in this video. Then, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share with you my amazingly, almost unbelievable price prediction for Algorand this year. Okay, so before we do that, please do make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell and share this video with whoever you can. Basically, YouTube are suppressing crypto content. They don't want you to see this stuff, so please make sure that you share it with as many people as possible. Right, so what is Algorand? We're going to talk about in the video, but more importantly, what's Opulus? Now, you guys will know, if you've been following us on Twitter at CryptoPigMedia, that we've been talking about Opulus a little while now. Now, Opulus is a project that was brought to our attention quite a while ago by a number of VCs that we're involved with, as well as some other channels out there. And this project is one where, well, look, we've had projects that work with the music industry or try to change the music industry, but nothing like Opulus. Opulus is actually bringing DeFi to the music industry, and it's very much a financial tool for musicians, producers, and artists. Not only is Opulus actually trying to do something different, the caliber of their parent company makes a big difference too. So Opulus is actually a subsidiary of a company called Ditto, which is a massive music distribution platform. Now, this platform basically allows musicians to generate revenue for their music from Spotify, other streaming services, and it's all managed via the Ditto platform. Ditto already have over 250,000 artists signed up to the platform and have already paid out over $1 billion to its artists. Artists like Ed Sheeran and Chance the Rapper. So I'm going to take you through Algorand, I'm going to talk you through Opulus, explain to you exactly why I'm super excited about this project. But first, a warning. You guys all know by now that you must do your own research. Everything I say in this video is not financial advice, it's my opinions, and I want to point out that I have not been paid in any way to actually promote either Opulus or Algorand in any way whatsoever. And I can tell you now that yes, I do trade Algorand, but I do not hold any Opulus tokens, so I'm not being paid or reimbursed for doing this video. The opinions are my own, and this is a starting point for you. Don't use this as your only bit of research into a project. Make sure you get out there and look into these things yourself before you put your own money into them. All right, guys, with that out of the way, let's get back into it. So Algorand is an open source, permissionless, pure proof of stake blockchain, and there are plenty of things being built on it. Now, before I go into the details of what the project is, how it all works, for those of you who are already familiar with Algorand and just want to know what the latest stuff is, I'm going to give you that info right now. The stuff that's making me and the rest of the CryptoPig team so excited about Algorand right now. Now, of course, you could say that the actual price action for Algorand's Algo token is enough to get anybody excited, but it's not just that. The company has just recently been valued at $40 billion. Algorand's investment arm, Borderless Capital, they were heavily involved in the seed round for Opulus. David Garcia, who is also one of the heads of the fund, is actually an advisor on Opulus as well. As you guys know, it's super important for new projects to have the right backing. They need to have the right investors behind them. They need to have access to those exchanges. And David being an advisor on Opulus means that they are going to have that access. David was instrumental in getting Algorand listed on all of the exchanges so early on. With David being on board, I think that's going to make a massive difference to how quickly Opulus gets listed at various exchanges. I think that backing is really going to be instrumental for them. Even our good friend Blockchain Brad is an advisor on this amazing project. Talking about people backing this project, Opulus also has Trustverse invested in them. They were a big investor during the seed round as well. Trustverse itself is valued at $1 billion and are already partnered with Samsung themselves. Michael from Trustverse is also an advisor on Opulus as well. Another big backer, a big Korean company, it's basically the TikTok of Korea, called SumSing. They are also backing Opulus. And finally, Basic Token is backing up Opulus too. With all of these companies being right behind Opulus, it's going to be a no-brainer that this one is going to get listed very quickly. And with that amount of talent behind the scenes, I think it's going to be a project that does very well. And we should see a really decent marketing push for it, not only here in the West, but also in Asia. So what does Opulus do? Okay, so Opulus is DeFi for the music industry. Basically, Spotify, as the best example, pays out billions and billions of dollars per month to musicians and artists across the globe. Now, what Opulus are going to do is they're going to allow musicians to use that data as a way to access DeFi loans. The loans will be paid back automatically by the streaming revenue that artist is getting. On the front end of it, the artist doesn't need to worry about the blockchain side of it. They can apply for the loan, and the money is taken from a loan pool which is backed by token holders. When the money is paid back, it's paid back into the loan pool. The great thing here is that because Ditto is the parent company for Opulus, they have access to that streaming revenue. There's no trust needed between the artist and the actual Opulus platform, because it can all be automated via the Opulus platform itself. Now, this is why Opulus is such a hyped up project right now, because it's not just a DeFi project, it's actually a DeFi project which is backed up by real revenue streams and by the actual artist's music. So of course, with all the hype coming on about it, everybody's going to be asking, well, when is it launching? When can I get hold of it? Well, right now I don't have any actual concrete information about when that's going to be happening. What I do know is that there is going to be another private sale round. There's going to be quite a lot of big investors getting involved at that point. But after that, there are plans for a community sale, not a traditional ICO, but a community sale. So if we can get in on a community sale, I think we could see some really massive gains on Opulus. As an example, just look at Polkastarter. Projects on there are doing 80x returns, and those are much smaller projects in scale to what Opulus is capable of. So I'm very excited about this one. I'm going to keep you all updated about it. And now, I guess it's time to talk about Algorand. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Algorand, what is it, and why we think this project, Algorand itself, is an amazing platform to be building on. Now, if you're on the channel, probably maybe 5 weeks ago, I've been pretty lazy with videos, I apologize. You'll know that we were talking about Algorand and we were definitely hyping it up. And that was because the fundamentals were good and the technical analysis showed that we were going to see some really good movements in it. And we did well over 300% gains on Algorand. So congratulations, everybody who actually listened to us. You'll be very, very pleased that you were involved, I'm sure. But I wanted to do a quick explanation for you guys about what Algorand actually is as well. So if you aren't familiar with Algorand, what are we expecting from it? Like I mentioned briefly earlier, Algorand is an open source, permissionless, pure proof of stake blockchain. Now, they are focused more on enterprise usage. So they are aiming to kind of provide borderless finance, but also to help people develop dApps that can service financial sectors and all sorts of things like that, or to help businesses with asset management, that kind of stuff. And they've been working very quietly, what I call stealth building in the background. The founder of the Algorand project and protocol is Silvio Micali. He's a professor from MIT, and this guy knows his stuff. He's been involved in cryptography for a very long time and is in fact one of the co-creators of what they call zero knowledge proofs, as well as verifiable random functions, which is a key part of how Algorand works. Algorand was, of course, launched in June 2019 during the bear market, so it had a tough job ahead of it, but made a massive amount of money during its ICO phase, thanks to the unique way that they launched. And they used something called a Dutch auction method, and it resulted in them gaining a huge amount of funding. Now, Dutch auctions are meant to be good for helping with price discovery. However, for some reason, it didn't work out in Algorand's favor during that bear market. And actually, the price did plummet from $3.28 down to an impressively low 10 cents per token. Now, the reason this happened, I believe it's because of a very early listing on Coinbase Pro. A lot of projects, they take their time getting listed on different exchanges and it keeps the momentum going. Algorand got so much hype that it got launched and it was added to a lot of big exchanges so early on that I think that momentum kind of dissipated, unfortunately, resulted in that price dump. Of course, it was also during the bear market too, so there was a lot going against it. But I will be glad to say to you, I think it's going to get back, and we'll talk about that just at the end of this video. Now, like Ethereum, Algorand does support smart contracts as well as asset tokenization and atomic transfers. Unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, which currently still use proof of work, if you know what proof of work is, it's a very computational heavy way to mine cryptocurrencies and to also verify and add transactions to the blockchain. It takes up a lot of energy. It's very expensive and requires proper specialized hardware to do it. It's also incredibly bad for the environment and causes a lot of pollution, something that a lot of Bitcoin's detractors do have a valid criticism of it for. Algorand, on the other hand, uses something called pure proof of stake, which completely avoids the need for that specialized mining hardware and actually makes for a very secure network and very fast and cheap transactions. Now, the way that pure proof of stake actually works is that it randomly chooses a number of committees from stakeholders, token holders, and they get to verify the transactions and add them to the blockchain. Any algo holder, doesn't really matter how many algo tokens they hold, they have the chance of being randomly selected to be the block proposer, the person who gets to say this is the block that should be added next. That's all done using that verifiable random function that I told you Sylvia Micali helped create. Like a raffle, the more algo you hold, the more chances you have of being selected as the block proposer. Now, there are actually 3 steps to the consensus method on Algorand. First up, there's a block that's proposed. So somebody is randomly chosen and a block of transactions is proposed and sent out to the network. The second step is that a random committee of other algo token holders are chosen to do what they call a soft vote on that proposal. Then third, there is finally another random committee selected from all of the algo token holders out there, and they do the hard vote where they actually certify the previous vote and the block, and it's finally added to the blockchain. Sounds like a lot of stuff happening, doesn't it? Except it doesn't take very long at all. In fact, a new block can be added to the chain in as little as 4.4 seconds. And in fact, it's advertised as 5, but it's been proven by many members of the community that it can be done in probably actually less than 4.4 seconds per block. Algorand uses what's called a dual layer system. They have the layer 1, which is the ASC. On this layer, you could do simple smart contracts, you could do the atomic transfers, and of course, proper token transactions happen there. If you want to do more complicated things, then you use layer 2. So that's off-chain, but what will happen is that your transactions that are done on layer 2 will be certified by layer 1. Algorand does use its own language, which is called Teal, the Transactions Executions Approval Language. And that just makes for a more sort of dynamic, streamlined way to produce smart contracts on that layer 1, ASC1 layer. And it also means it's more secure because there's less likely to sort of be mistakes made in the coding that could lead to hacks and vulnerabilities. So you would need to maybe learn Teal to deploy smart contracts on that chain, but there are ways to deploy smart contracts on layer 2 in other languages as well. They also have on Algorand something called cochains, which are private blockchains, basically like side chains or parachains like you'd find on Polkadot. There is interoperability between the different chains as well. Obviously, this isn't extremely new technology now, but Algorand was one of the first blockchains to actually use that technology. And they do have a different implementation and function with Algorand than some of those other examples. So that's what Algorand is. That's why we're excited about it. Obviously, Opulus is a very big deal. But there's other stuff happening on the platform too, stuff to get excited about as well. One of the bits of news that I thought was very exciting, I know it's a bit old news now, is the fact that Algorand are helping out the Marshall Islands with developing their own central bank digital currency. Pretty exciting stuff. But again, another great example of Algorand doing this stealth building approach. I think that now that they've got Opulus on board and are working with some other projects, I think we're going to see a lot more of a marketing push from Algorand. And I think we've got, well, you've seen how crazy the prices got. I think there's a lot to get excited about still to come. So with all of that great news and all that great information for you, I hope that you found this video informative and enjoyed it. If you did, please do me a massive favor. Hit that like button, smash up the notification bell, and make sure you're subscribed to us because it does help us out. And as I said, I put out time-sensitive content. You want to be watching this stuff to learn about all the latest projects and also to get updates on the charts and what's going to happen with different prices. And I did promise you I would tell you what my astronomical expectation for Algorand is this year. Now, it would be super easy for me to say that it'll go back to $3, whatever it was when it first launched. That's a no-brainer. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen a lot sooner than you think. But I actually think Algorand is one of those coins that could go a very long way. And I think that if we see Algorand do as well as it is now, there is no reason not to expect Algorand to get up into that $10 to $20 range. Yes, you might think I'm insane, but when you look at how much Algorand's just been valued at, $40 billion is not unthinkable, guys. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!